Hello, world. What is up? Welcome to Build. I'm your host, Matt Forte. Man, we're here live at the Build Studio in New York City. Our next guest is a Golden Globe Award-winning actor. You know him from tons of stuff. Steel Magnolias, of course, The Practice, American Horror Story, and you can catch him in Ryan Murphy's latest, The Politician, dropping in its entirety on Netflix tomorrow. The super talented, the objectively handsome, the wonderful Dylan McDermott is here, ladies and gentlemen. How we feel about that? Make some noise for Dylan. I'm excited. He's back. We're going to bring him out in just a moment, but first, I believe we have a peek at him in the show, so let's go ahead and run that clip.
I mean, I think he...
I'm sorry. My wife she's drunk and on pills. From the way she keeps moving her mouth, I would guess a combination of Klonopin, vodka, and grapefruit juice.
He wants to have sex with our daughter.
What the hell is wrong with you?
That's why he hates any of the boys that have anything to do with her. River, Payton, he wants her for himself.
You know how we met? I hired her from a service called the Girlfriend Experience to be my date at a fundraiser for Ron Paul. I'm telling you this because I want you to know what kind of woman my wife is.
I'm not ashamed of who I am. I was an actress performing for an audience of one. You married a hooker. So what does that say about the kind of man my husband is?
You two seem to have found a way to make a life for yourselves.
Ladies and gentlemen, the great Dylan McDermott is right here. Come on, do it up. Make some noise. Good amount of noise. How you doing, man? Dylan, welcome back to the show, sir.
Hey, nice to be here. Thank you.
It's always nice to have you on, man.
Appreciate it.
I was saying in the back, I know I said I was bummed, but that's an exaggeration. I just enjoyed dogs. Otis was with us last time.
Yes.
He's someplace being pampered right now, I imagine.
Yes, Otis is my terrier, my sidekick. I call him my terrierist. And but he couldn't make it on this trip.
Busy. He's got stuff to do. He's got his own career.
He's auditioning.
He's auditioning right now.
Yes.
There's a lot of projects out there for Otis. He just turned 3, I think I saw it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he was my dog on LA to Vegas. He played the role of Maverick.
Was that like a demand of yours? You walked in, you're like, I want to do this show, but Otis has got to come along for the ride.
I did. I said I really want Otis on the show, and they wrote him in.
They wrote him in.
Yeah.
That's amazing, man. All Otis stuff aside, how are you doing? How's life right now? You're on the cusp of the release of this really exciting show. I imagine you're excited as well.
Yes, this show rocks. They sent it to me, and I could not stop watching it. I watched, all 8 episodes in 2 days.
It's pretty amazing,
yeah. It's addictive.
I was saying the same thing. I started watching it yesterday, and I just kept going. I only stopped because I ran out of hours in the day, and I got 2 left. I'm excited to get back to you tonight. And that's a real testament because we talk to a lot of people. A lot of people come on the show. They're excited about their thing, but they go, I haven't seen it yet, but I'm sure it's great. You've watched the whole thing. Is that true?
They always say that, by the way.
They always
protect themselves.
Oh, got it. That's a safety net.
Yes, exactly.
That's what that is. They've seen it.
They've seen it.
How are you in general with watching stuff you've done? Do you go back? Do you enjoy seeing yourself in a project and seeing yourself perform? Is it like watching a game tape, like to see, oh, here's what I did here? Here's what I did?
Sometimes nowadays I really enjoy more doing it. Like I really enjoyed that scene that we just played, the clip. I enjoyed doing that scene, but it's fun to watch. But nowadays it's really more about the doing of it than watching it.
Well, I want to dive into this in a second, but there's one more extraneous thing that I was really intrigued by that I saw on your Instagram feed. I was completely unaware. Do you have your own boulevard? You've got
I do.
You have your own.
It's not a street.
It's a street. Yeah.
I mean, it's an actual boulevard. It's a very short boulevard,
but it exists.
But nonetheless.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's a sign. It has your name on it. It's very official.
It's so funny because I went back to my hometown and. I said to my sister, Robin, can we just drive by the boulevard? And she said, yeah, sure. And we drive by, and the sign is falling down. And I was like, oh, man, I got to do a little video. And then the mayor, who's a friend of mine, they fixed it that day, so that was nice, yes.
Wow, results.
Yes.
How did you end up with a boulevard? And also, do you get to choose like a boulevard or a promenade or a street or a lane? Do they call you up about that?
I thought it would just be a street, frankly, but then all of a sudden it was a boulevard. So, no, they were really sweet, and they honored me with the key to the city.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
You got a boulevard and a key to the city?
Yes.
Did you pull a kitten out of a burning building? What happened?
If you only knew me as a kid, I would never get the key to the city, let me tell you.
How big is the key to the city? Is it like one of the Publishers Clearinghouse checks?
No,
no, it's regular size key. Does it open anything?
Nothing.
Nothing? Purely ceremonial. All right, fantastic. Well, thank you for indulging me on that. I saw that, and I was like, how'd this man get a boulevard?
Yeah, I know. It's not easy.
No, well, you pulled it off, dude.
Thank you.
Living the dream, crushing it. Speaking of living the dream, another amazing project with Ryan Murphy and co. here. How did you get involved with The Politician? Were you doing Return to Murder House, and he was like, hey, well, I got you here. I got another thing I want you to take a look at.
You know, no, but you're probably right. I did that. Ryan came to the set. Sarah Paulson was directing. We had a great time. She did a wonderful job directing the episode. And then one day I got a call from Brad Falchuk, who's Ryan. They worked together and they created American Horror Story together. So, luckily I'm in the stable of Ryan Murphy Television. Man. Yeah, so they think of great characters for me to play, and this is one of them. This guy is just, I mean, he's the grit and the fierceness of this guy is, and the viciousness of who he is. It was so much fun to play.
How deep are you at that point where not only do they think of you, but do you have to audition, or do they just know, no, Dylan's great for this at this point?
Yeah, and they just...
That's a really fun place to be at.
They write me parts, and I'm very thankful and grateful, and I show up and try to kill it.
Is there an added pressure at that point? Like, on the one hand, it's like, oh, great, I don't have to read for it. On the other hand, it's like, well, shit, I better deliver. They know I want.
They know. Yeah. There's a lot of great actors out there, so, there's always another mountain to climb.
Yeah. I remember, what was that like going back, what was it, I guess 5 years when you went back to Return to Murder House? Was it cool getting to go back to one of those?
God, it's 9 years.
Was it 9? Oh, my God.
I know, it's been 9 years.
So
great.
Talk about that real quick, just walking back into those shoes. I know how much you loved that character. That was a fun, terrible person to play. So to get to go back to that for a little bit, what was that like? And then with Sarah Paulson behind the camera, I mean, embarrassment of riches.
And, with Jessica there, I mean, it was just really, it really was like almost like a high school reunion. Felt that way, going back to the same house, the same characters, and of course my character was stuck. I don't know if you saw the episode, but he was stuck in the house, repeating the same thing over and over again. So it was really a blast. I mean, I love. Murder House was incredible. From the first moment I read that script, I knew I had to do it. So it was just a fun character to play.
When you get when you say something like, I knew the moment I read it. When they send you stuff for The Politician, was there a similar moment or something right away where you go, oh man, they've done it again? I'm really
I mean, I knew that. Luckily growing up here in New York, and I know a lot of these finance guys. And I know that world, and I've walked in that world, and I've seen those guys, and I know the hustle. So luckily I was able to sort of put my own life experience into this character because I knew exactly who he was when I read him. So it's not a coincidence that they thought of me for the role.
You felt it was an appropriate casting. I felt right.
Plus January and I together, I think that's just great casting because there's something, wrong about the whole thing. Her and I, with these two characters, just marrying your escort.
It's brilliant. When we get a little flash of that in that clip that we got to see at the beginning of our talk here, the two of you, was that your first time on screen with January?
Yes, I mean, I've known January since she was like 19 years old.
No way.
It's nice to finally work with her.
Must have been fun.
Yeah.
Did you guys? How much of that brilliance of those characters is there on the page for you, and how much do they ever give you guys a moment once you're in that zone to sort of explore and find your own little fights amongst each other and your own little moments?
Really, it's hard because chemistry is it just you can't define it. Yeah. It's just something that happens or it doesn't happen, and I think with January and I think it was just something that immediately happened. So there's no reason to really discuss it. And that's what's interesting about film as opposed to, let's say, a play. There's not a lot of discussion that goes through it. It's really what happens it's organic. It's spontaneous as opposed to theater, which is very thought out. So I just think that chemistry thing, it happens or it doesn't happen, and luckily it happened for us.
So that's something you found in your experience when you're dealing with theater. You'll sit down. You'll have a much longer conversation about everything going in. The preparation, it's completely different than approaching a project like this.
Yeah.
Even though Ryan Murphy will do something that's very theatrical in a different way. You're saying because of just the approach that you guys.
Yeah, the
don't.
approach
It's
just
totally
very
different.
Yeah.
I think I was reading. I want to say, and keep me honest here. Was it Helen Hunt was directing the episode?
She
I think
actually directed that episode.
that episode that we saw. Yeah. Man, that must have been a trip.
Yeah,
That's a
and I've
legend right
known
there.
Helen a long time, and we did something on. We did like I forget what it was. It was called Into the Badlands years ago on the USA Network with
man.
Bruce Dern. It was like one of these little. It was we shot in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and we started it together, and so I've known her a very long time, and now she turned out to be a really good director.
She's a great director.
Yeah.
And the other thing I always love too about like the Ryan and Brad stuff is like she had Sarah directing on that. We have Helen Hunt here. They have amazing choices. And I think Janet Mock, who they worked with on Post,
right.
did an episode of
She
this
directed
as
me
well.
in my first episode of
Did
this.
your first episode
Yeah,
of this?
yeah, she did a great job as well.
That's amazing. I mean, you get to work with just an endless
I
cavalcade
know.
of
I'm so
incredible
lucky.
people. Yeah.
Is this wood? No. don't
I
know.
think so. It's painted heavily, but I'm fairly certain it's wood. But that's got to be. When you get to work with all those different people, even at this point in your career where you've had this so much experience, are you still trying to find to learn new things from all these different directors and new ways of going about it? And tackling it?
You're never there with acting. It's something that you're always evolving. It's always changing. You're always trying to find. And it's also very mysterious. Like you can walk on the set and absolutely know who the character is and be free, and then sometimes you're like, oh, I'm not quite sure what to do here.
Yeah.
So it's just it's mysterious, and it's a gift when it happens. Like this character I play was a gift because he entered me. So I was just like, all right, great, you take it.
When that happens, when the characters become a part of you, is it difficult after a long day to turn it off when you leave? Do you?
There
find
have been
yourself
guys,
wandering around?
yes.
Which what a terrible guy to be walking around.
Yeah, there have been guys. There was I did a movie a couple of years ago called The Clove Hitch Killer about a serial killer.
Shit.
And that was a rough one to, I had to shed that guy. It took me like good 3 months after filming because it was like I was him. I made everybody call me Don, and I stayed in character on and off camera for, I think we shot for 6 weeks. So, and then before we began filming, it was something I knew that I had to be that guy. And so it just sticks.
I was going to ask, what drove you to that decision to approach it in that way, especially with as heavy as that was going to be to sort of live in that zone? Why did you decide to stay with that guy and commit that heavily?
For certain, I don't do it all the time, but for certain roles, it's necessary with a guy like that because of the intensity of the character work that went into him and his look. I look completely different, I have a fat suit on and I shaved my hairline back and glasses, and my voice changed, and I wanted to shed Dylan. I didn't want any Dylan around, so I needed to be Don. So, and when that happens, you can't have any cracks.
Right.
I can't let Dylan in. So you really have to split off in a way, which is the most dangerous thing about being an actor. Sometimes actors do go too far, as we've seen in history.
Yeah.
And you can kind of psychologically damage yourself. So you have to be careful to walk that line, but at the same time, make sure you come back.
Right. No,
Hopefully.
Yeah, well, I mean, you seem pretty reasonable right now. I think you made it back. You said it took you 3 months to get out of that world.
Months.
What, when you're cognizant of that and you know that you have to kind of shed that and leave that behind, how do you work towards that? What are your goals? What are your tangibles? How do you know you've achieved it at the end of the 3 months?
Well, you're not thinking about it anymore.
You're just pushing it out.
Yeah.
Just trying to be present.
Exactly. You
Focus
don't
on
think about
whatever's
it.
next.
Right.
Things like that.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing, man. Didn't happen with this guy, though.
Not with this guy.
This guy, you were able to walk away.
Yeah, I walked away.
That's pretty good. That's good.
But certain characters, you go in pretty deep.
Yeah, for sure. I know you probably can't say too much just yet, but we're also trying to protect. There's so many great story elements and twists and turns in here, but I'm always curious about now that you're in the Ryan Murphy wheelhouse. I don't know if this is just speculation, but you're also working on, this is one of 3 things he's doing with Netflix. The next one, I believe, is Hollywood, and your IMDb has you listed as being a part of that. Have you talked about that at all? Have you prepped for that at all, or is that just an idea on the horizon?
Right. It's nothing I can really exactly talk about as of yet. So I can't really go there. I will tell you that I am definitely in the Ryan Murphy camp. Yeah. But good things are coming.
That's it. When, having worked with him so much, this is it's officially his first Netflix event endeavor. Was there any kind of tangible vibe on set? I feel like Ryan Murphy's the kind of guy at this point where wherever he is, they give him freedom to do his thing. But was there something that felt different? Was he working on it in a different way, knowing people were going to watch this show all at once, knowing he can do whatever he wanted? Did it feel any different, or did it just feel like Ryan?
It just felt like Ryan, yeah. But the cool thing is, it's going to come out in 200 countries. It's wild. Yeah. I mean, think about that. I've never had that before.
Is that your largest release?
I would assume so. 200 countries. I mean, you talk about, I'm expecting numbers to be like 50 million people are going to watch this thing. So the game has really changed since I've come up. When I came up, movies were everything and television was sort of secondary. Yeah. And now it's just the opposite. Yeah. Really, it's all about television, and movies are, kind of an afterthought really now. There are event movies out there, but movies are coming right to Netflix. Yeah. That's what's happening because that's where all the eyeballs are.
Totally. Well, this is event television. You know, all 8 episodes at once. Mm-hmm. It's a unique way in which we're all getting access to this stuff. Especially with a Ryan Murphy show, we're used to week having to wait and see.
No more waiting.
No, we get to.
And it's dubbed. Yeah. It's dubbed around the world. It's like everybody can enjoy it at the same time.
Subtitles everywhere. Yes. Everyone's going to enjoy it at once.
That's the genius of Netflix, really. That they prepare everything for it all to come out at once, dubbed, ready to go.
That's it. Everybody gets it. It's super exciting. I was thinking about, just because we're going to go to the audience in a second, but I know how important, how much you have done on the stage, and I was looking. You haven't done any theater in a minute. Are you going back?
No, I went to go see Slave Play last night.
Oh, did you?
Which is absolutely stunning. So if you guys haven't had a chance, you must go. It's a seminal play, and I was talking to Jeremy O'Harris afterwards, who's a genius. And I was thinking to myself, and I said to him, we have to work together. So I really want to do another play. And Eve Ensler is my mom, who's another genius playwright. So we're also talking about doing a play. I'm getting the itch to come back.
Was that the last time was it when you worked with Eve? Was that the last thing? Or you did something after that?
No, I did a Tennessee Williams play called Baby Doll.
Yes.
Yeah, that was the last play I did. But I'm itching to come back. I want to. Come back.
Is it scheduling? Is it like nervous?
Yeah.
Getting back out there?
No, I'm not.
No, you're ready.
I'm ready.
If they came to you tomorrow with the right thing.
I could do it right now if you want.
Yeah? All right, here we go. Hey, cancel the rest of the day slate. We will begin Dylan McDermott's one-man show.
Yeah.
That's super cool, man. Well, whatever you do next, man, please, the door is always open. Come back. You. Otis or not, we always love having
Otis
you.
is going to come back next time.
Good, because I got a lot of questions for Otis. Right. I hear he's got a thing in GQ coming up.
I totally forgot about Otis. He's going to come next time, I guarantee it.
Okay, I got some questions in the room, right? I got at least 2. That's fantastic. Let's go to the first one. You got a microphone. Come on down.
Hi. I was just wondering what your most memorable day on set was of The Politician, if anyone stands out to you.
Let me see. Well, yes, there was a scene. They wrote a scene where I'm working out with my trainer, where I'm boxing with him. And I thought to myself, because I love to daydream about scenes and character. And I thought to myself, why did I hire this guy? And I was like, oh, I know why. I'm hiring him so I can beat him up. So I talked to the stunt man and the trainer, and I was like, this is what I want to do. Talked to the director, and this guy is so vicious, and he teaches his daughter to be vicious in the show, to succeed in life. And I thought, I'm going to just beat the hell out of this guy with my gloves on. And that's what I did. And that's how we start the scene. And I thought, that's exactly who this guy is. He pays this trainer to come over so he could beat his ass. You know, and that's who he is. And that's what was like, okay, and I know exactly who this guy is, and that's how we started the scene. So that was fun.
Great question. Do you find often the environment is that collaborative where you can have those ideas, you could go on those personal explorations and then bring them back to the team and be like, hey, this is what I think we need to do here, and 9 times out of 10, they're like, that's a good idea?
Yeah, I would say that's about right. You know, sometimes, I mean, they're ideas, and they come and go, and it's, you know, just ideas you have about the character, and sometimes they stick and sometimes they don't, but it is a collaboration, absolutely.
Cool. George, I would love to do one more. Yeah, let's get one more question. Come on down.
Hi.
Hi.
I have an online question from our site, buildseries.com. Who is someone you haven't collaborated with yet that would be a dream collaboration for you?
Oh, wow. Well, there's so many great actors out there that, you know, I haven't worked with. You know, I would love to work with Robert De Niro and Sean Penn, and there's so many terrific actors that
You got Dermot Mulroney out of the way.
I got that out of the way.
That was a long time coming. That was...
Well, we live together, so.
You guys, you see each other at the meetings?
Yeah, we see each other.
The handsome man meetings at the...
So,
You always had such a great sense of humor about that ridiculous, just public, organically formed
you know,
joke.
we talk about it all the time.
Yeah, you guys have been so funny about that. You embraced it.
You know, it's been 30 years.
Yeah,
It's been 30 years. I mean, SNL did the skit on it.
I know.
People still think it's funny. But, you know, it's a long-standing
Sorry
joke.
if I reopened a wound.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, it just seemed like something that you guys had embraced at this point.
Fine.
Yeah. That was a wonderful question. Thank you for that. Kate's giving me the signal. We got to wrap things up. Dude, congratulations
Thank
on yet
you.
another amazing project. This show, you are fantastic. The show is fantastic.
Thanks.
And I'm telling you, the second you start watching, you're not going to stop till
Can't
you're done.
stop,
It
right?
just it hooks you right away, and you just keep going. It's so amazing, and I'm so excited for you, dude. Thank you. Thank you again for coming by. Please come by again with whatever you work on next. And yes, you're correct to applaud because you're a wonderful audience. Thank you for hanging out with us.
Thank you.
Keep it going. The Politician's on Netflix tomorrow. This is Dylan McDermott right here, everybody. You better make some noise. Thank you.
Thank you.